This is the end of the world as you and I know it. And we better get ready, get ourselves right. This house actually right behind me, a meth addict had died there, geez, about 2 weeks ago. Cops go there, I don't know, literally once a week. I watched the guy for a couple years. He must have been maybe 10 years older than me. I'm 49. He was in his late 50s. And the guy lived there all his life, this corner house over here. Lived there with his mom and his dad, and he took care of them. But what I saw when I moved into the neighborhood is I saw a house with a bunch of little kids that were literally 50, 60, 70 years old, and they came there all day long, right? And the guys were working on his cars in the garage, fixing things, tweaking on things, right? The typical methods. How you doing, guys? Thank you for tuning in. My name is Mo, the Gnostic Warrior. Another philosophical walk and talk on this beautiful Thursday. Hello to you guys around the world. Disclaimer before we begin, I love the comments. I don't mind if you disagree with me, but if you come at me sideways and you don't comment in a mature fashion, you will be banned and I will delete your comment. But if you want to participate and disagree, but be cool, this is a community for you. But if you want to be a parasite, be a little jerk, we will ban you. So it's for Gnostics, right? You're supposed to have knowledge on the comment section of the subject you're talking about. That's usually what a Gnostic will do. We actually comment and talk about things we have knowledge about, personal experience, and then also science. And anyways, let's go back to the guy that just died in his 50s from methamphetamine. And he was taking care of his parents who still live there in that house back there. What's happening now? Guess what happened? So he dies, all kinds of drama happens, and he's dating a young, I'd say 35-year-old meth addict, lady, blonde hair, maybe for a month or two before he dies in that house. Guess who's living in that house now taking care of his dead parents? Yeah, the other parasite, the lady who just met this man who was a fellow meth addict, is now staying there. And the guy who parents own the house died, and I don't know what the fuck's going on, but the cops go there still every week. I see men come in and out of the house all the time, different meth addicts, because I've been around the block, guys. I grew up in an area and I've been around a lot of people to understand what's going on. So what's this have to do with the end of the world? Nothing. I just wanted to kind of start with the story and, get into this podcast, this little walk and talk. The end of the world is the coronavirus lockdowns that you're seeing now, and basically all businesses essentially stopped except essential businesses. And as a result, we're getting into an economic crisis like the world has never seen, or that we've never seen in this 2021st year of this age that we're living in. Right? So my question to you guys is, if this is the year 2021, how many years were before year 1 AD? How many ages were before this age? How long do the powers that be decide what they're going to do, or how long they're going to continue a specific economic program? So that's what I'm saying with this video, and the end of the world as we know it is the economic program that we're used to in this, say, United States of America. I've called it, the Masonic States of America has officially ended. If you guys have heard of Agenda 21, it's been changed to Agenda 2030. It's basically a United Nations agreement between, I think, 136 different nations, including the United States of America and probably your nation if you're a free country so far, listening to this podcast. Your nation probably signed up for this too. And you guys have agreed to cut down on carbon emissions, cut down on business, and change the way you guys live. So what I believe with the coronavirus lockdowns is that this virus, this alleged coronavirus that's killing all these people, is going to be used for pushing that agenda forward, for ending the world as you and I know it. Think about it, guys. I mean, for the last year, we've been locked down, businesses have been shut down, restaurants, companies that have been around for hundreds of years are now going out of business indefinitely forever, okay? Thinking that the world was never going to change and they would be able to run their restaurant or their business, and they've made hundreds, thousands of dollars, whatever they did, supported their family, had all these employees, thinking, hey, nothing's ever going to change. I could go on as business as usual. And what ended up happening is all these businesses are starting to go out of business. And no one seems to care at the top, right? And then all these commercial properties that these people rent and they own now cannot pay their own mortgage. So you're having a ripple effect. And then you have the people that aren't getting paid, aren't going to be able to pay their mortgages. So all these houses you see here, right? Real estate goes up and down, up and down. They're bubbles. We're in one of the most massive real estate bubbles in the history of the world right now. And of course, the realtors who are real estate propagandists would like you to think it's a great market. They're really just order takers, the most overpaid people probably in the world, right? But what's going to happen is when these moratoriums end right now, in the coming year, like Biden came in to be president, but he's extending these moratoriums, right? And a lot of you out there are definitely happy. You don't have to pay your rent. You don't have to pay your mortgage, which is cool, and you're not going to be on the streets, and I don't want anybody on the streets, but what that's happening to the people that own the properties of these people that are renting, now they can't pay their mortgage, right? These are the landlords, the lords, the slaves enslaving slaves, a lot of them, right? Selling these overpriced cracker shacks in San Diego County, right, on a little postage stamp of land because you live near the ocean, beautiful blue skies. They want to charge you $2 million to live in these little crap shacks built with mold, right? That world has ended. I'm sorry for a lot of you that were making money in that old economy and, raping people over the coals and selling people overpriced houses and coaching programs for tens of thousands of dollars and, all that bullshit. It's going to end. And that's what I say you guys need to start getting right and figuring out how you're going to operate in the new world ahead. And often how we feel or our views don't really matter. They matter, of course, with us and developing our gnosis in our own lives and figuring things out, but sometimes we have to adapt to the situation. So people that could adapt to current situations and changing situation, that's a sign of intelligence, because nothing ever stays the same in life. It's always changing. Hey, thank you guys for commenting. Please thumbs up this video, give it a like, share it, and then also please give me your opinion on, are we ending an age here? So my research, I've talked about this before, we started this age in 8 AD, Augustus Caesar, ancient Rome, right? He took over Greco-Roman Egypt, and he added July and August, July for his father, Julius Caesar, and August for him. And basically, at that time, they ruled the whole world. And through this hundreds of thousands of, not hundreds of thousands, but hundreds of years and a couple thousand years, different powers took over the Roman hierarchy and the Roman power. And we have other Roman fasces and all our symbols in Washington. And it's interesting, people are making reference to Washington and the inauguration being, similar to Hunger Games, right? It's on lockdown, sovereign state, military, right? And the rituals that they did with Biden seemed a little bit different. It's like a new era, right? And then as soon as Trump gets out of the White House, Biden's literally reversing all the different laws and the bills that Trump had instituted. It's this constant propaganda game. But again, the message to you guys is, try not to pay attention necessarily to what they're doing and get involved emotionally with the politics, but try to predict what you could do for your family with this world ending as we know it. Meaning, it's not going to blow up. I don't believe there's going to be a world war, but I believe it's going to be a war, a spiritual war. And a lot of materialists are going to get eaten up. They're not going to understand. They're going to lose their lives, their businesses, their money, trying to hang on to the old ways, to the old world that's gone bye-bye. Right? They just didn't get the press release from the powers that be that their world has ended. Right? And a lot of millionaires and multimillionaires here in the United States and the West are going to lose fucking everything. All right? And unfortunately, a lot of the lower class and middle classes are going to be cannon fodder if they don't pay attention to what's going on and they protect themselves and their family. All right? And from what I understand, being a slave in the United States of America is you got to think of ways to make money to work and not be eaten up by the system or be a slave to a slave, right? So get right, learn a trade that is an essential business and get to fucking work because it's going to get ugly out there in this economy. And a lot of people are saying that there's no jobs out there, there's no work. There is work, and it's primarily blue collar type of stuff. I know because that's the kind of work I do. I'm in the mold remediation contracting business. There are jobs all over San Diego looking for good people that could do blue collar work, even entry level work. So this BS that there's no jobs out there is BS, because there are jobs, just not the same jobs of the old world, but there are, the blue collars. So what I advise people out there, maybe if your job was, in a restaurant or white collar before, is you got to get your hands dirty, start learning a trade, say such as plumbing, contracting. I believe one of the biggest things coming forward is going to be demolition. A lot of these houses and commercial properties around the world are going to be demolished. Okay, so there's going to be a big need for demo type of work. So if you want to be a contractor, it's real easy to get your demo contractor license. I think that's going to be huge. I'm also a commercial property inspector. That's going to be, I believe, a huge trade because they're going to be rezoning a lot of these commercial properties that are sitting empty, all over the United States. So they're going to have to rezone them. They're going to have to inspect them. They're going to have to maintain them. So there's going to be a lot of work, unfortunately, in the carnage of the fallout of the old world, managing foreclosures, cleaning out foreclosures, stuff like that. So blue collar work, and that type of stuff is going to be huge. Hey, thank you for tuning in, guys. I appreciate the kind comments. Hello in New Zealand. Hey, Carrie. Tawiho. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, and forgive me if I got it wrong, but thank you. Thank you, Michael, Kane, Leanne. Hello, everybody. Yeshua, Shannon. Thank you again. We are in the Great Reset. Google the Great Reset. That's kind of what they're dubbing this change in this world to this new world that we're going into. The old world as we know it has ended. I wasn't a big fan of the old world, guys. To be honest with you, I'm more of an introvert. I've never been into the party and dominate your fellow man for $1 and all the bullshit that this old world had and kind of taught me as a kid. And it forced me to be someone I didn't want to be, you know? And that person who I became here in the United States of America wasn't someone that I liked. It was actually someone I began to hate. So imagine growing up somewhere where you want to be a certain way and then you're forced into a cult, right? The cult of insanity in America, business and dominating your fellow human for $1, you know, and abusing people. That's what I was inducted to. You know, I didn't have to partake in it, but I did, because I didn't have a good father. You know, he was an alcoholic. I didn't have any adults or, you know, adult role models to help me along the way. So I made a lot of mistakes. And unfortunately, I listened to a lot of douchebags and assholes and kind of emulated them when I was younger. And then I turned into that person that I didn't like. And I've been basically working for years now trying to fix that. And I see it in a lot of people. And I believe that we're playing this act, this role that we don't want to play, you know, and some people want to. They don't, you know, they're sociopaths, they're psychopaths, you know. And that's kind of what I believe this kind of cult turns you into after time. You know, you turn into that person you don't want to be, you know. And I know this happens in other countries as well, you know. But again, my advice is, you know, definitely get educated, listen, you know, to these walk and talks, find people who you resonate with, but get to work and try to find your niche in this new world that's coming, you know, regardless of how we feel or politics and what's going on with the left or the right. You know, we got to get ourselves right for our family. And we got to learn the ways to make money, you know. I wish we could just kind of just chill all day and not have to worry about that, but that's not the way it works. You know, people that have like sponsors and scholarships and things like that if you're in academia. And those things are, you know, starting to dry up. You know, I don't think it's ever going to go back to the way it was or what people think. So don't think that we're going to be back to business as usual or how we were prior to this year. I don't think they'll ever allow that. And you'll start seeing a lot of the laws that are coming onto the books, whether it's federal or national or state or county, they all seem to be pointing towards that, you know, that green economy, right? You know, in 2030, there's already a law in the books saying here in California where they're not going to have any more petrol-fueled cars. Eventually, they're going to all be electric cars, and this is going to be a law. So if you love your gas vehicle, you know, your old souped up car, and you like to fix up old cars, that's going to be a thing of the past in the new world, right? You're not going to be able to drive that car that can potentially pollute the atmosphere and stuff because you like to fix up cars. You know, it's not going to happen. Or a certain business, what you like to make plastic widgets, you know, if it poisons the environment or it doesn't offer value, I feel that in this new world as we go forward, they're not going to be allowed. It's almost if you don't make it, you can't sell it. If you can't do it, you can't run the company. You know, that's kind of where I see the world going. You know, and it's going to go back to how we used to do business, and it was kind of more like, you know, family-run businesses where it was passed down and you made enough money to take care of yourself and your family, and you didn't have ungodly sums of money, and you're driving around like you're a king, and you know, you have all these RVs and all these toys, and you live in a 5,000 square foot house with you and your wife and no kids right on the beach. That's not going to happen. I believe that world's going to end because they're not princes, they're not kings. They're who I've called in the past the fake American aristocracy, right? Again, thank you guys for tuning in. Again, I don't mind if you guys comment or disagree with me, but remember, if you disrespect me or you come at me sideways, I'm going to ban you, delete your comment, just for being an agnostic douchebag. But again, I don't mind if you disagree with me. Not at all. But Usually the people that I'm finding that disagree with me disrespectfully and come at me sideways, they're usually the most ignorant people that I've ever met. And they don't have knowledge on the subject they're speaking of, but they act like they do. Often these same people have never read a book. They've never written an article. They've never done a podcast. They just go on the internet all day long and make comments. And again, I'm not talking about all you fine ladies and gentlemen who are commenting. And again, I don't mind if it's nice or you disagree, but just take a look in the mirror. We all got to do that. I actually have been a troll myself and immature, looking back at some of the things I've done in the past where I didn't really understand philosophy and treating people how I want to be treated and stuff. And I've been that dick. I've been banned from other people's communities. And looking back, I was the one that was wrong. When I disagree with someone, I learned over time, and especially from it happening to me, is that you shouldn't disrespect the person or just, automatically, refute him on their own page. Like, this is my page of 50,000 people. Again, if you're going to come in here and say, oh, he's lying, he doesn't know what he's talking about, yada, to me, you're a troll if you do that, because A, you're not presenting any more information and you're just calling me names and then saying I'm lying. That's not really doing anything. That's not the definition of a Gnostic. That's an agnostic talking out his ass, which happens to be his mouth. So that's kind of how I view it. Again, don't take it offensive, but if it applies, go right ahead. But again, I know this doesn't apply to a lot of you out there, but when you try to comment on a subject, and you're trying to add to the world and knowledge and to the conversation, is try to add your experiences, try to add maybe some science or knowledge to the conversation rather than just your opinion, because that really doesn't help in the long run. Even though I believe opinions are great because, our personal experiences. But anyways, I'm out of breath. I just walked up this hill right here. It goes actually all the way back there. And I'm always doing these walk and talks so I could kind of flesh out the ideas in my head and figure out what I'm doing. I've been doing a lot of walk and talks on the demonic fungi, which a lot of you guys appreciate. Meth addiction, how meth addicts have the fungi growing within their GI tract. Heroin addicts, I'm finding. But this is almost every disease, cancer, diabetes, people that do chemotherapy, they have candida grow up in their bloodstream. People that live in homes like this, never did drugs, they literally have the same symptoms that meth addicts have, and that heroin addicts, after a certain amount of time, they get psychosis, they get anxiety, right? They can't sleep at night. All right, these people can't sleep at night, sometimes staying up for days. And I'm talking to them, guys. I do mold remediation in Southern California, okay? They never did meth. They're not on drugs. But literally, they all have the same complications and the same symptoms that a meth would, with the psychosis and the sores and the different types of things and the GI tract issues, all right? So you guys, if you're having any type of issue with your health, look at the fungal connection. There is a fungus among us, and I am the fun guy giving it to you guys, all right? No, I'm just joking. Anyways, if you're in the Southern California area, I don't do these for business, but I'm always in need of helping people, and, my company could use any business, and if you need somebody good, we do mold inspections and we do mold remediation. So if you know of anybody that's having any problems, I'll travel as well. Give me a shout out. The name of my company is Mold Safe Solutions. But again, I don't do these videos for that. I actually like to offer free advice to help people, with their problems rather than try to just make money. Hey, Melissa from Toronto. Hello, my parents are actually from Canada on the East Coast, from Montreal, Quebec. My real name's Maurice. We're the French Canadians. They came there from France to New France back in the 1600s. They were some of the first French from France and Canada. Yeah, Marcus, the world has been purposely inverted, bro. Right? We've all been inverted to where, you know, the material is over the spiritual, which I believe the spiritual has to be over the material. You know, we have to coexist with one another. We're living in these meat sacks. We've got to get around. You know, we have our houses, we have things to do, but in the same breath, we lose touch with our spiritual side. And I believe when that gets inverted, Marcus, that's when we make these types of decisions that are literally suicidal, parasitical to the world. You know, so you could see these same behaviors in business people and people that make decisions in government. You know, they're these selfish desires rather than these ideas thought in the, I believe in the pleroma, the noosphere, you know, where actually real ideas and philosophy happen. So I believe a lot of the people that are in those positions are used as tools for this fungi to bring about our oblivion. And I believe that the apocalypse, part of that, told by St. John, if you guys follow, you know, any of those teachings, actually do talk about this. So that's what I believe is the end of the age, the end of the sixth age that this is from my research, the year 2021. I don't know how many more years we're going to go until we do a complete change in the calendar. You know, so if you look at the calendar, even our time and our system's been changed. You know, we're on the Greenwich calendar, right? So, hey, Dean, Eddie, thank you, everybody. I appreciate all of the Thomas, Agenda 21. Adapt and overcome. Exactly. That's the key going forward. Adapt and overcome. And try not to get emotional and tied into the media, all the politics, all the bullshit. It seeks to divide us. So anyways, it's needed, you know, but I believe soon even politics will change towards the truth. We'll have less games in the new world ahead. But it's a ways away, so we're going to have a lot of KO before we get to the Ordo. Yeah, I believe our whole system is set up to, you know, bring about these parasites. I believe it's easier to control people when they have these types of infections and they put the material over the spiritual. It's really simple when you think about it, and it gets things done. They think that the ends justifies the means, you know, if you know about that. So, in any event, take care out there, guys. Mo, the Gnostic Warrior, peace be with you. Josh, thank you. You're welcome. Bye.